From Of Monsters and Men, All Is Love and Pain in the Mouse Parade. I get the impression that after Republic and Rich Costey in particular tried to press this band into their most marketable form stateside, to some commercial success but dubious reviews, the band appeared pushed to the brink. So seeing them go back home and independent and push a self-produced return to form might have some real promise, given the grudging nostalgic appreciation for their sound, and especially as it's been a long 6 years since we've heard from them outside of an EP in 2022, and thus, well, it's probably the closest texturally to that chilly, rickety texture since My Head is an Animal. Brittle percussion on a windswept expanse with twinkling keys and guitars, the horns back in earnest amidst the hazy cushion of reverb, touches of strings around more frenetic drum work, and a few striking melodic hooks on The Actor, Tuna in a Can, Styrofoam Cathedral, and especially Kamikaze that had me convinced they were back in earnest, even if some of the softer pop-leaning touches felt a bit off. But the more muted singing from both Ragnar and Nana, nowhere near as strident as they used to be, which was apparently intentional to pull back a bit, and I kind of questioned that, but it drew forth a very different comparison. Man, this album sounds like The National in the 2010s, especially with the choppy strings against the stormy guitars on Television Love, or that vocal progression on the Towering Skyscraper, or the smoldering Styrofoam Cathedral, with a few lingering post-rock edges on the extended cuts like Fruit Bat. And while the harmonies are still there, the power feels considerably dampened. Probably what you don't want to hear for an album that's gonna run long with a very familiar sonic template by now. Now this of course would be mostly fine if the lyrics were strong, and this is the risk of evoking the image and sound of another band so starkly. Cause lyrically, Of Monsters and Men have a lot of naturalistic, sometimes a little strange detail to paint their pictures, but the emotional dynamics tend to be pretty broadly sketched. If there was a restlessness before and attempting to escape or battle one's demons, this album is more settled and trying to accept what you can't change. Less internal conflict between the two singers, more finding shared camaraderie in those confessions to try to get through this or being able to fully move apart and move on. So it winds up feeling like a more maturely realized album, but with less vigor and conflict at the core. And I'm not sure that really flatters this band's strengths when they used to go for the fences. I like the tempo of Ordinary Creature, but it's such a demystifying song that does nothing to help their mystique, but it'll surely work well for some sort of commercial. But at the end of the day, Of Monsters and Men have a very well-trod sound and formula, and imitating a good era of The National with richer textures and maturity indicates some growth. Not sure it strikes the lightning of their best, but still very solid. It's likable, worth hearing.